Hi everyone, welcome to What Just Happened. I'm Christine Russo. What follows is a live recording from the RELEX booth at NRF 2026. I sat down with Greg Wilson, VP of Field Strategy at RELEX Solutions.
So what is on your tick list?
Of course, AI is all the rage. A couple of things about that. It's starting to move from largely experimental to actually being deployed. And up until now, a lot, especially the LLMs, have largely been a little point, I'm going to solve this problem, I'm going to solve that problem. And I think that's useful. Some of those are starting to roll out into more useful production modes. I think at RELEX, I feel like we have an advantage because just throwing ChatGPT on top of your solution and trying to make it do stuff is not a feasible strategy. So AI is a lot more than just LLMs. LLMs are kind of enablers of deeper AI. And we've been working with what we call specific targeted AI solutions to solve specific problems. So using complex mathematical solutions, consuming broad sets of data to get to answers on some of the most complex problems. And so we've always had an infrastructure of identifying exceptions and then being able to configure business rules that are tailored to addressing those exceptions, and then enabling that through specialized AI, which is really important. And those become enablers. So now we've got an infrastructure where we can build targeted agents that understand how that specialized AI to solve very specific retail problems that can't just be done with an LLM. And then that infrastructure is able to interact with broader LLMs. So if somebody has an enterprise, everything that we do can become an agent to that broader enterprise AI strategy. So I think we're uniquely enabled because we have all those different layers in place for decades before all of this was important to address that. And then we've really enabled that recently with a process we call diagnostics, which says, okay, exceptions say we found a problem here. That's all well and good. You can go try to figure out what's causing that. What diagnostics does is it looks into the data and it identifies you're having this out of stock position because of these things that are causing that problem. That then identifies what needs to be addressed. We can have a specialized AI that knows how to address that. So ultimately all you have to do is say, hey, Rebot, fix that thing. And it's fixed.
So it's the step from insights to action.
Yes.
Because it's no longer just flagging an issue. And then you have to go to other sources of truth to piece together what might be the best solution.
Yeah.
So it's following that recommendation format that AI has brought to all of us.
Yes. And it's really enabling it to be practically deployed. These types of things used to take analysts hours, and they ran out of time to solve all the problems that are facing.
New problems would come up.
Of course, yeah. There's never a shortage of problems to address in retail or manufacturing. Yeah, exactly. So I think we continue to make progress on how to automate the ways to react to that, but we want to do it as much as possible with interaction with the planner or the merchant or whoever's responsibility it is to address that. So many of our AI are interactive. So they're saying, you ask them, why is this problem happening? They'll tell you why, and would you like me to do one of these three things? And then you choose which one of those three things, and they'll say, here's the result we got. We might be able to do a better job of that if you try this other thing.
Let me ask you a question. Are you using closed data or open data to make the recommendations?
The answer to that question is frustratingly yes. So we're obviously leveraging all of the data that we have access to, but the LLMs allow us to search outside of our core platform into other areas, so we can identify trends of behaviors that are happening. And if people want to go broader than what our AI agents and infrastructure supports, everybody's got a strategy and they're doing things as well. So we focus on kind of the supply chain area, but you may have a strategic objective of, I need to increase revenue, or I need to reduce my inventory. A large portion of that problem is in our domain, but there are things outside of our domain that also should be considered in doing that. So we can enable your enterprise AI infrastructure to be the point where that question starts, and we can be one of the agents to that answers the portion that we have responsibility for.
The industry can no longer be function silo built.
Exactly.
And I've always said that, but AI absolutely makes it more plain, more in your face. And so you can't be supply chain because they can't structure their companies like supply chain anymore.
Right.
There's going to be like a shift.
I agree completely. And we see this, it's actually quite a challenge for us because we don't just do supply chain, we do pricing, we do promotions, we do space, we do all kinds of things. And all of those things are siloed in today's retailers. And we keep encouraging them because we can unify all of these things as a part of our solutions, start to break down those silos. And there's been a lot of resistance to that. I think not because they're just being belligerent, but it's really because that structure is a very big project to change and to enable across those silos. So I think the technology is really not necessarily going to be the limiter. It's the ability to make the change to break down those silos, enable people to work across.
The challenge now is it's AI native, something brand new that doesn't exist that's going to come up will be structured the quote unquote right way. Big retailers that are here that for hundreds of years in some cases, 50 years, are structured the way they're currently structured. The way retail is structured now is built around the movement of product. The either design or sourcing and fabrication or bringing in and the movement of product. And so that's why we call supply chain and we call merchandising and we call production. The retail world isn't built around the movement of product anymore. And it should be built around the customer. And so if you meld the departments around that and work backwards from the customer, it will look very different.
There's definitely going to be a major facelift in retail over the course of the next 5 to 10 years. But if you really distill it down to conceptual, it's really not different. It's we need to have the thing that the customer is going to ask for where and when they ask for it. But they're getting much better at asking for it because we talk about AI in the context of the retail company and how that enables them. But guess what? The customers are all enabled by AI now too. So they're looking across all of your competitors, they're looking across different offers, different promotions and those types of things. So we need to be responsive to what they're asking for. And so the more we can learn about the behavior of where and when they're asking for things, the more we can understand and interpret that and react to that in our responses to making products available to them when and where and at the prices that they're ready to pay.
So how does RELEX look? In what ways is it different from NRF last year to today? In 1 year, what services or what's different?
The answer to that question is a little bit different for different verticals of retail. For example, a lot of our roots are in grocery, and we're getting to the point where we're doing more to enable the in-store people to be responsive and to be enabled by AI, especially for really challenging products like fresh produce and vegetables, those types of things. It's a very difficult thing to execute at a store level, and historically it's been very manual, and a lot of the purchases and things like that are based on the store department manager's intuition. So we're giving them more things to understand what's being demanded, when a promotion's happening, what needs to be happening to support that, all of that in their hand in the store, and we immediately aggregate that up through everything we need to do to procure that merchandise and make sure it's going to be available fresh at the right time.
That is a huge challenge, and you don't think AI can help apples, but...
Yeah. The thing that we have to be careful of is AI is peaking on its hype cycle, I think, right now. And it's really important to be somewhat pragmatic about how we apply that. And that's why I started the conversation with talking about the infrastructure that we have in place. Sometimes I relate it to building a house. Say, I want to build a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. Well, the general contractor's not going to do that. He's going to hire specialized skills, plumbers, electricians, carpenters. So those are our AI agents that understand how to do the specialized tasks. And then they use tools. Those tools are business rules, specialized AI approaches, those types of things. That's the hammers, the saws, the pipe wrenches, all of that kind of stuff. So you need to have everything from the tools to the people who know how to use them to enable the LLM to really get to the objective that they need to. So we have an advantage in that we've had all those tools and those specialized skill sets in place for years. That gives us a head start on making the LLMs really practical to apply, whereas I think a lot of people didn't have that advantage and they're trying to get the LLM to do everything. And the general contractor is not going to build your house on his own.
Great analogy. So tell me about some interesting things from your customer that's going on with your customer.
We've got a number of customers that have been very tight partners in our advancement in these types of things. So Carhartt on the manufacturing side, and we're hoping to expand with them as well. We've been doing a lot of great work with Tractor Supply. We've recently expanded our relationship with Lowe's, so we've really become dominant in that kind of DIY and farm and tool supply and those types of things. That might be the genesis of my analogy for the home builder.
There you go.
But even in grocery, where a lot of our roots are, we've just acquired a company that was all about enabling the in-store people with AI.
What else? Who else? What else?
Oh my God, we've got 600 customers. It's so hard to keep up.
Okay. So those are some of the big ones that are really like the tip of the ship, cutting through any kind of...
And they have very eager initiatives to make progress on the fronts that we can help them support.
We love those customers. Those are the best.
Yeah.
The inbound, pushing you, working together, collaborative, building and creating together. That's great.
Yeah.
We can leave it there. I want to thank you. It's a very interesting conversation, and I love hearing about what RELEX is presenting and doing here at NRF 2026.
Thank you.
Thank you, Greg.